Hi everyone. So today we are going to be working on the skill I can use estimation when multiplying mixed numbers. So you've already started practicing how to multiply mixed numbers. And now we're going to use estimation to help us to just check before to see if we're in the right ballpark. So remember that estimation is a rough calculation of value. So we're going to try and use what we know about fractions to try and solve the problem without doing the mathematical components. So if we look at this equation right here, we have 6 2/3 times 2. So I want to think to myself, what numbers does 6 2/3 fall between? So I'm going to show that on a number line. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so we know that 6 2/3 falls somewhere between 6 and 7. If I want to show it on the number line, I kind of imagine that 6 2/3 is a little bit further than halfway. So I would label that 6 2/3. So our first step is going to be determine what two numbers the mixed number falls between. So if I look at 6 2/3 here, I notice that it falls somewhere in between 6 wholes and 7 wholes. Then the next step is going to be multiply by each number. Okay, so I'm going to get the number that I'm multiplying by right from my equation. So it's 6 2/3 times 2. So I'm going to show 6 wholes times 2. And then I'm going to show 7 wholes times 2, because I know that it falls somewhere between 6 and 7. So 6 times 2 is 12, and then 7 times 2 is 14. So I know my answer should be somewhere in between 12 and 14. Okay. And then our third step is determine the closest answer. So this is going to be a multiple choice question. So here are the answers that we can choose from: 17, 13 and 1/3, 12, 11 and 2/3. So when I'm thinking about my answers, I always want to try and figure out, is there something that I can completely get rid of because it doesn't make sense? So we know that our answer should be somewhere between 12 and 14. So we can get rid of A because 17 is too high. And then I notice that 11 and 2/3 is less than 12, so that isn't going to work either. So we can cross that out. So then I'm going to think about my whole numbers again. So 12, 13, 14. So if I was just multiplying 6 times 2, I would know that it would have to be right on 12. But when we see this number, 2/3, that's going to tell us that our answer is going to be a little bit greater than 12. So can it be 12 on the dot? No, because we know that it has to be a little bit more than 12. So then we want to check, does 13 and 1/3 fall somewhere in between 12 and 14? Yes, it would fall somewhere right in between 13 and 14. So 13 and 1/3 is a reasonable answer for this question. So then what I'd like you to do is today for your work, you're going to look at page 7 in your packet, and there are multiple choice questions. So just like before, what I'd like you to do is you are going to Write down the two numbers that it could be between, and then use your process of elimination to determine what would be the closest answer. There are steps up at the top that will help guide you through.